Krishna, I welcome every single one of you who has come here for today's program. Today we are speaking on the power of love. Almost all the novels, all the movies, all the songs in cinemas, they are mostly based on this topic of love. Love is a word that is most commonly used, but if you look at the songs, if you look at the movies, if you look at the novels, 50% of the movies, 50% of the songs, 50% of the novels, they end in a distressful condition. The most famous love stories are not stories that end in happiness. Most of the love stories, they end in pain. Sometimes I travel, and when I'm traveling, there are people who are playing some songs on loud volume. So recently, when I was traveling, there was a car next to me, and in that car, there was a loud song that was playing. मेरे जिंदगी से जाने का क्या लोगे तुम? So this person is asking, he's so fed up with somebody. He's saying, मेरे जिंदगी से जाने का क्या लोगे तुम? One of my friends told me a story that one boy and one girl, they were in love with each other. So initially, this boy is saying that you are Chandramukhi. Then after marriage, the conversation changed. So he said, previously you were Chandramukhi, now you have become Suryamukhi. And then after some time, 2-3 months later, one of his friends asked him, how is your relationship going? He said, now she is Jwalamukhi. So things change, is it not? One friend is asking another friend, how is your marriage going on? So he said, before marriage, I would speak and she would listen. After marriage, she started speaking and I had to listen. And now, 2 years after marriage, we both talk and the neighbors listen. So many times, what is promised does not happen in the end. So we have to be very careful that are we able to understand the word love properly, right? Now, recently, as he mentioned, I was also in Dwarka and we were staying in a lodge. And when we were about to vacate the lodge, then some cleaner from the hotel came and he was changing the bed sheets and all before the next customer came in. And I was waiting for my train. So I was waiting there in the lodge for some time. This person is an ordinary cleaner in a hotel, but he had an iPhone. And in that iPhone, what songs was he playing? All of the songs were romantic songs. And in Bombay, if you go to very costly pubs means it's a place where young boys and young girls they come together for dancing, and for dancing they pay a lot of money to the pub owner. So whether it is somebody who's staying in slums, whether it is somebody who is a cleaner in a hotel, or whether it is somebody who's paying a lot of money just to enter a pub, just to entry, there is a fee. What to speak of purchasing something inside? Almost all of them are playing songs which are romantic in nature, is it not? So everyone is searching for love. In fact, I can tell you, it is the most often used word. But seeing the effect in this world, I can also say, although it is the most commonly used word, it is most rarely understood word. Very few people understand the what is meant by love. In fact, some of us who are sitting here, we could be searching for love. Some of us. Some of us right now may be in a relationship with somebody. Some of us right now may be in a painful condition because we got into a relationship with somebody. Some of us may be recovering from pain that came in our life because we fell into a relationship with somebody. And some of us may be actually confused after so many bad experiences that is there really love in this world? We could be at any one of these stages. Most of us, we think that love is about attraction on the physical level. When a boy speaks to a young girl, I love you, what is he referring to? He's referring to the looks, he's referring to the bodily attraction. Yes. And sometimes in this world, this bodily attraction does not work. This boy thinks just by giving a ribbon on ribbon day to a young girl, she will fall in love with me. But it does not happen like that. So if the boy proposes to the girl and the girl does not agree, then what happens? Many times there is violence also. The boy will do something to the girl just to make it clear, if you don't say yes to me, then I am not going to sit quietly. Many times I have seen somebody may be suffering from a terminal disease like cancer also, and many of them may be old in age, maybe 70, 75, 80 also, but they will continue living. Even though the doctor is saying you have stage 4 cancer, you have very less time left, but they have a urge to live, they have a desire to live, they are hopeful and they live. But I have seen many times young boys, fit body, there's a whole new life waiting ahead of them, but just because in some love affair they were not successful, they don't want to live. So somebody who's 85, his body is old, he has a cancer, but he wants to live. And a boy of 25, because of some failed love affair, he's saying, I don't want to live. So what is going on? Why is somebody who is so young saying, I don't want to live, but somebody who is old is saying, I want to live, right? There are some statistics that in males, those who are married, almost 20% males, they accept that in search of love, they have sometimes gone beyond marriage. It means they're married to somebody, but they're having some affair with somebody else outside marriage. And amongst females, this statistic is almost 13%. So 20% males are so much looking for love that they're searching for it even if they're married. And 13% of females, even though they're married, they're searching for love outside marriage. So, why are they not receiving love? This is the question that we are trying to discuss. Right? I'll speak some stories to you. These are stories from the Vedic literature. There is this person called Kashyapa Rishi, and this Kashyapa Rishi has a lot of control over his senses. He is engaging in a lot of tapasya also. But one day, his wife, Diti, she approaches him and she says, I want to come close to you. So he says, this is evening time and this is a time for doing tapasya. This is not the right time for us to come together. They are married. But she says, I cannot control myself. I need to come close to you. And he warns her, this is an inauspicious time. This is an impure time. And if you come together, if you come close to me, a lot of inauspicious things can happen. But she insists and she comes close to him. And then from that union, there are two sons who are born. But that union happened at an inauspicious time. So who are born? Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. This is the story of the birth of the two greatest demons. How were they born? Out of a union. She was saying, I am in love with you. But it happened at an inauspicious time. There is a story of Indra. Indra is a very powerful person. He is the king of all the devatas. And one time he glanced at Ahalya. There was a rishi called Gautama Rishi. He had a wife called Ahalya. She was so beautiful. He is a king and he knows what is the culture. Culture means you don't look at the wife of somebody. But Indra, when he saw Ahalya, because of her beauty, he could not control himself. And you know what he did? He wanted to go close to Ahalya. He changed his form to her husband. He changed his own form to look like Gautam Rishi, and using the face and the body of Gautam Rishi falsely, he went close to her. And then later, when Gautam Rishi came, he was very angry. So Gautam Rishi found out somebody else has come close to my wife, and he cursed him that your eyes are contaminated. Your eyes looked at my wife and they got contaminated. So he cursed that on his whole body there will be eyes. Now, these eyes, this is just two eyes at this place on the face, they look very beautiful. And sometimes some beautiful girl may be called Mriganayani. Your eyes are like a deer. But imagine these kind of eyes all over your hand, your chest, your stomach, your legs. Your whole body is covered by eyes. It looks very dirty and non-beautiful. But Indra, because he could not control himself, he got cursed to have eyes all over his body. All of us have heard also about a rishi called Vishwamitra Rishi. What is the story of Vishwamitra Rishi? He performed tapasya for 60,000 years. After performing tapasya for 60,000 years, we will assume he has achieved control over his senses, but he's sitting in rapt attention, and there was some sound of, in Hindi it is called payal, in Marathi it is called painzan, in English it is called ankle bells. And just by the chanchan sound, he did not even look at the girl, but just by that sound, a sage who has done tapasya for 60,000 years, he could not keep his eyes closed because of the sound. And as soon as the sound came, he opened his eyes. And when he opened his eyes, he saw a beautiful girl called Menaka. And as soon as he saw this beautiful girl called Menaka, she was dancing in front of him. And this girl was so attractive that he gave up his tapasya of 60,000 years just to come close to this girl. So in this way, we saw the story of Kashyap Rishi, we saw Vishwamitra Rishi. There is another Rishi called Shaubhari Rishi. This Shaubhari Rishi, he was such an advanced sage that he said, I don't want to do tapasya on land, because on land, sometimes some beautiful girl will come and some another distraction will be there. You know where he was doing tapasya? He chose to do tapasya underwater. He has so much control over his breathing that he was doing tapasya underwater and is doing tapasya there. But what happened? One day he saw one male fish and one female fish. They came together. Now, a fish, two fish coming together, it does not agitate anybody. But a Shaubhari Rishi, he is such a great personality, he is doing tapasya underwater, but he saw two fish coming together, and just by the sight of these two fish coming together, he got agitated and he came out. And that time there was a king called Mandhata. This Mandhata king had 50 daughters. This Shaubhari Rishi went to Mandhata and he said, I want to marry your 50 daughters. Think about it. This power is so strong. It does not leave Vishwamitra Rishi. It does not leave Kashyap Rishi. It does not leave Indra. It does not leave Shaubhari Rishi. And I will also tell you about the story of another very strong, powerful, important person. He, at one point of time, was the president of America. Anybody has heard about Bill Clinton? So in the 1990s, he was the president. And Bill Clinton, he was such a charismatic person. He could speak such nicely. And when you become the president of America, you also become the controller of the armed forces of America. It means you control the army of America. It means you control the navy of America. It means you control the air force of America. So America is already the most powerful country, and the armed forces of America are one of the most advanced. And who will decide where the army will go, where the navy will go, where the armed air force will go? The president, right? So very intelligent person, very powerful person, very charismatic person. But what happened? In his office, there was one girl who was working, and she was very beautiful. And the president of America, in office, he engaged in some wrong things. And some years later, this girl went out and she said, do you know what the president of US does in office? He's not doing it in the evening time. In the office of the president of US in daytime, he had some illicit affairs with the young girl who was working there. And she leaked it. So what happened? When the president of America is doing all these things in office, he has to resign. So a big career of Bill Clinton came to a halt. How many of you have heard of somebody called Julius Caesar? Julius Caesar was one of the most powerful kings in the Roman Empire, and he fell in love with a girl called Cleopatra. This Cleopatra was from Egypt. She was not from Rome. And as soon as he fell in love with her, he had to marry her. So everyone was telling him, you don't need to marry this girl because we don't know about her, how she will control you. But he said, I just have only one option. I have to marry her. And he married her. And you know what? This Cleopatra actually took all the important decisions for Julius Caesar. In our own Maharashtra, there was a big, strong warrior called Bajirao Peshwe. This Bajirao Peshwe was actually married to somebody. But one time he went to some dance performance, and in that dance performance, he saw one girl who was dancing. And this girl was not from a good family. Her name was Mastani. Just by the name, you understand, her name is a very strange name, Mastani. Bajirao Peshwa, the king of the Marathas, at that time he was leading. He had a loyal, chaste wife from a good family, but he said, I have to get married to Mastani. And everyone is saying, you are such a bright king, you don't need to marry the dancing girl. But he could not control himself. And Bajirao Peshwe, he engaged in an affair with Mastani. So I am giving you all these examples, right from Shaubari Rishi, Vishwamitra Rishi, and Indra Dev, and the President of America, and Julius Caesar, and Bajirao Peshwe. Why am I giving you these examples? To help you understand that how powerful is this force. Just like we need water to survive, we need food to survive, we need oxygen to survive, right? But all these are needed for the body. When we drink water, water nourishes the body. When we eat food, food nourishes the body. When we inhale air and oxygen, it nourishes the body. But actually, you know what? All of us are very much in search of love. Because love does not nourish the body, love nourishes the person inside the body. In fact, there is a conversation. There is one rishi called Yajnavalkya Rishi. And this Yajnavalkya Rishi had a wife called Gargi. And one day this Gargi asked Yajnavalkya Rishi, I see in this world so many people are doing so many things. Somebody is studying hard, somebody is ruling, somebody is doing tapasya, somebody is trying to get more knowledge. I see so many people doing so many things. But you are a sage. So I want to ask you, what is the main purpose behind every person's activity? Even if somebody is working, even if somebody is doing tapasya, somebody is swimming, somebody is jumping, somebody is dancing, somebody is reading, whatever it is, what is the main purpose? So this Yajnavalkya Rishi, he closed his eyes and he meditated for a long, long time. And he's looking at all the activities that are happening on this planet. And after looking at all these activities, he came to one conclusion. And he said, actually, everything that anybody is doing in this world is with two purposes: to be loved and to love somebody, to receive love and to give love. Actually, why are we studying in a college? Because we want to earn good money. And why do we want to earn good money? Because we are told that then you can have a good career. And why should you have a good career? So that you get a good girl for marriage. So why should I have a good girl for marriage? Because then she'll love you and you'll love her. And then the family expands. So if somebody is doing business, why is he doing business? To earn money. Why does he want to earn money? So that he can get into a good marriage. Why does he want a good marriage? So that he can have a good relationship. So whether it is studies, whether it is a job, whether it is a business, anything everyone is doing, at the core of it, Yajnavalkya Rishi answered his wife, the only purpose of everything that we do in life is to express our love to somebody and to receive love from somebody. But if you look at all these examples that I gave, was Shaubari Rishi benefited by love? Did his life improve because he fell in love with those 50 daughters of Mandata? Was Vishwamitra Muni, he is doing tapasya, and after 60,000 years of tapasya, he got attracted to Menaka. So he had to break his tapasya. He could no longer perform tapasya. So did falling in love with Menaka improve his life? Indra, He got attracted to Ahalya and he dressed himself by Gautam Rishi, and now he's engaging in some activity with Ahalya. So because of that, he got cursed to have eyes all over his body. So did his life improve after this love? Did Julius Caesar life improve after love? Did Bajirao Peshwa life improve after love? So one interesting thing is we are all searching for love. Everything that we are doing in life is for love. But this definition of love that we are seeing right now, unfortunately, it has a degrading effect on us. It is not having an uplifting effect on us. So one thing is for sure, although everyone keeps talking about love, everyone keeps dreaming about love, everyone keeps fantasizing about love, but very few of us have understood what is love. And because we have not understood what is love, we may be engaging in a wrong definition of love. And if we are engaging in a wrong definition of love, what is happening? By this definition of love, what happened to Indra? Degradation. What happened to Vishwamitra Rishi? Degradation. What happened to Shaubhari Rishi? Degradation. What happened to the President of America? He had to resign. Such a bright person, such an intelligent person, but he had to resign. What happened to Julius Caesar? He could no longer rule with the same kind of charisma, with the same kind of power that he had. So we need to understand what exactly is love. Although we keep talking about it, but we think it is just an exchange of some flower, it is just an exchange of some ribbon, but it is not as easy as that. Okay? So we'll go ahead. There are two words in English, liking and loving. One person, I was traveling somewhere and one person was seated next to me in the train and he took out his tiffin and in the tiffin he had a chicken meat, and then as he was eating he saw that I am sitting there, so just for some having some fun with me he's telling me, I just love chicken. He's saying, I just love chicken, and then he's eating that chicken, right? And in my heart I was thinking, are you sure you love chicken? Because if you love chicken, will you eat chicken or will you not eat chicken? One teacher was explaining the concept of liking and loving to some students like you. And the teacher asked the student, what is the difference between liking and loving? And the student said, I'm not able to exactly understand what is the difference. Can you please help me? And the teacher said something. The teacher said, you see this flower here? If you say, I like this flower, you know what you will do? You will go to that plant, you will take that flower, you'll pluck it, you will inhale the fragrance, very nice fragrance. Probably you will keep it in your shirt because it's a very beautiful flower. And maybe after half an hour, 1 hour, when the flower is no longer fragrant, when the flower is no longer beautiful, you throw away the flower, right? And if you say, I love this flower, you know what you will do? You will go to the plant and you will water the plant and you will make sure that that flower blossoms more and more and the fragrance spreads more and more and the flower becomes famous more and more, or the plant becomes famous more and more. How many of you understood this definition, the difference between liking and loving? What is the essential difference between liking and loving? What is, in one word, if you say, what is the difference? Liking is about receiving what that flower can do for me. It can decorate me, it can give me good fragrance. And what was loving all about? Loving was about giving. And then the teacher gave another example. The teacher said, if I have a cage and in that cage I have a parrot, and if I ask you, how do you deal with this parrot? And if you say, I like this parrot, you know what you will do with the parrot? You will keep the parrot in the cage. Why? Because you like it. So you want to keep it in the cage. Why? Because if it is in the cage, then you can talk to the parrot, you can look at the parrot whenever you want. Yes? But the teacher explained the second thing. That, but if you love the parrot, you know what you will do? You will look at the parrot and you will say, his whole family is out in the sky flying and only this one parrot is in the cage. If you love the parrot, then you don't want to receive something from the parrot, you want to give to the parrot. So what will you give to the parrot who is caged and who is separated from his family? Yeah, freedom. Because birds are not supposed to be in cages. All the family members of that parrot are in the sky. And what happened to this parrot? He's in a cage. So when you love a parrot, you open the cage and you allow the parrot to fly away. So what is the essential difference between liking and loving? Who will tell me? Yes? Liking was about receiving and loving was about giving. And that's why when this person who was seated next to me, he's saying, I just love chicken and he's eating it. Is it loving or is it liking? Yes. This is the difference. If he really loved the chicken, I'll tell you one story that happened in Gujarat. The son of Mukesh Ambani, his name is Anant Ambani. He was traveling in a car somewhere in Gujarat, and ahead of him there was a truck, and in that truck there were chicken who were being taken to a slaughterhouse. You see, sometimes there are these tempos or trucks in which those cages are there and in which the chicken are there. So he saw one truck like that, and you know what he did? He told his driver, please overtake this truck. And his car went ahead of the truck and he stopped the truck and he said, how many chicken there are? So he mentioned some 250 chicken are there. He said, what is the cost? So he said, why you want to know? He said, no, I want to know, you tell me. So he mentioned some cost. He took out from his wallet that money and he said, at least I cannot save all the chicken, but at least in front of my car, if there is a truck and there are 250 chicken there, here is the money, you free them. So Anant Ambani, does he like chicken or does he love chicken? Love chicken. And this person who was seated next to me, he's saying, I like chicken. I love chicken. What is he doing? He's actually liking chicken. So many times in life, we have to understand the difference between liking and loving. So when Indra, he looked at Ahalya, did he like Ahalya or did he love Ahalya? You understood the point? So if we understand this fundamental difference, then we will understand what is real love and what is fake love. Sometimes, at one point in one program, I was speaking on relationships, and one couple, they came to me and they asked me, what is your recommendation? Do you recommend love marriage or do you recommend arranged marriage? And I mentioned something to them. I asked them, if I say I recommend love marriage, can you promise to me all love marriages that happen in this world, they are highly successful? So that couple said no. Because some love marriages, as I mentioned to you, Chandramukhi, then Suryamukhi, and then Jwalamukhi. Right? It's a love marriage. So this couple said, there is no guarantee. All love marriages are successful. Sab ekdam sweet. So I said, okay. Now, can you also tell me, are all arranged marriages successful? So they told me, no, sometimes arranged marriages also fail because the mother and father made a wrong choice. So you know what it means? I told them, it is not important how the young boy and the young girl came together. They may come together by love marriage or they may come together by an arranged marriage. But what is important is, after they come together, how do they maintain their relationship with each other? So even if they come together by so-called love marriage, or even if they come together by so-called arranged marriage, after they are married, if the relationship between them is based on liking, then what will happen? If the boy likes the girl, then what will happen? He will try to see how much this girl can serve me, how much this girl can give me happiness. And one day, if the girl is not really happy, or somebody misbehaved with the girl, or something, maybe some disease, and this boy goes to the girl and says, I want some happiness from you, and the girl says, I'm really exhausted, I'm sick, I'm tired today, so I cannot give you any happiness. What will happen on that day? Because the relationship is based on liking, and that day the girl is unable to give him any happiness. So what happens on that day? The successful love marriage is no longer successful, right? And if it is an arranged marriage, the mother and father they arrange this marriage, but it is still about liking. Then the girl or the boy will say to the partner, I want some happiness from you. Can you cook something for me? I like this dish. So can you cook something for me? And she says, I'm completely exhausted. I went to the market and I don't have energy. I'll cook this for you tomorrow. But it is about liking. So liking is about receiving. And she is not able to give anything that day. So what will happen to that successful arranged marriage? It will no longer be successful, right? Now think about a love marriage that is actually based on loving. And what is loving all about? Giving. So in that love marriage, that boy is telling this girl that you seem to be very exhausted. Can I do the cooking today so that you don't have to do the cooking? What will happen to this marriage? Will it fail? Will it stay the same or will it improve? Right? So always remember this. We use the words liking and loving in an interchanging way, but actually liking is about always receiving and loving is always about giving. There's a very beautiful story from the Ramayana. Ram and Sita and Lakshman are in the Vanvas for a long time. This is roughly at least 10 years now. They are in Vanvas. And they are staying in Panchavati area. And there is Godavari river flowing there. So Sita, because life in the forest is not really very sweet life. She was born in a palace. Now Ram is very strong. Ram is very focused. Lakshman is also very focused. But Sita, she is like a young girl. And she was born in the palace in Mithila, right? And then she got married to Ram. And then the condition was that Ram should go to the forest. But because she is a chaste wife, then she also followed with Ram to the forest, right? So forest life was very tough for Sita. And she was thinking, there should be some happiness in life. Life is very painful in the forest. So one day she and Lakshman were talking. And she told Lakshman that there should be some happiness in life. Can we have some sports? Let's do some sports. Some swimming, this, that, some simple sports. So Lakshman said, okay, you be the judge. And I and Ram, we will try to swim across Godavari. From this side, we'll swim to the other side and come back. And this is the sport. And you be the judge. So she said, I know you. You will always try to swim in such a way that your elder brother will win. आप जानबूझ के करोगे कि राम जीतेंगे और आप हारेंगे क्योंकि आपको ऐसा प्रेम है भैया से. So she said, you and my brother cannot participate in the sport. Your brother will always win. Then it's not the right sport. So she said, let's do one thing. I and your brother will participate in the sport and you be the judge. So Lakshman said, yes, okay. So now Ram and Sita are on this side of the river. Okay. And both of them, the condition is who returns fast. And both enter the Godavari river. Now Ram has these long arms. Ajanu Lambita Bhujau. Ajanu Lambita Bhujau means his arms reach to his knees. And Ram in that Godavari river is having these big strokes, very fast. And he has these big arms, he has strong arms. So he goes to the other side of the river very fast and he's swimming backwards now. Now when he is swimming backwards, he reaches half of the journey. You understood the point? He already went to the other side and on the return journey he has come to the half journey. That is the time when he meets Sita Devi when she is going opposite side. So Ram went and he is returning and Sita Devi is still on the journey to the other side. So who's going to win? Ram is going to win, right? But when Ram and Sita, they cross each other, then Ram says, oh, Sita Devi is still here and I am on the return journey. It means in this swimming competition, I will win and Sita Devi will lose. But Sita Devi is the compassionate side of God. She is called Kripa Shakti. See, in Ramayana, there are two incidents which are very similar to each other. One is Shurpanakha wants Ram without Sita. Ram and Sita are married to each other. But what is Shurpanakha doing? Shurpanakha is doing, I want Ram and I want to kill Sita. And what is Ravan doing? Ravan is saying, I want Sita but I want to kill Ram, right? They are married, but Ravan and Shurpanakha, they have the same crime. What is that? They want one of the two and they want to kill the other one. But what is the punishment that Shurpanakha received? And what is the punishment that Ravan received? Can anybody tell me what is the punishment that Shurpanakha received? Only her nose was cut. But did she lose her life? And what happened to Ravan? So now you tell me, same crime, but different punishment. How is it possible? Because when Shurpanakha approached Ram, Sita was standing there. So in the presence of Sita, Ram cannot kill Shurpanakha. And that's why in the presence of Kripa Shakti, Ram will never create violence. And that's why only the nose was cut. But when Ram and Ravan were fighting, where was Sita? Sita was in Ashok Vatika. She was not present. In the absence of Kripa Shakti, Ravan was given punishment of death sentence. So that's why wherever Radha is there, then Krishna has to be soft. Wherever Sita is there, Ram has to be soft. So now the question is, Ram is on the return journey and Sita is going and Ram is going to win. So Ram starts thinking, if I win and Sita loses, then my Kripa Shakti loses. If my Kripa Shakti loses, then all my devotees who are dependent on my Kripa Shakti, they will lose. So if my Kripa Shakti loses, then all the devotees lose. If all the devotees lose, then I lose. See, if somebody is representing Ram and he loses in a battle, then what will people say? Arey kya fayda hua? Ram ki bhakti karke haar gaya na tu. When somebody is a Krishna devotee and he loses or he gets some less marks in an exam, then people will say, "Arey kya fayda hua? Tu itna Krishna bhakti karta hai, tujhe to exam mein kam mark mila." So when the servant loses, then the master also loses. So Ram is thinking, if Sita loses this sport, then my Kripa Shakti loses. If my Kripa Shakti loses, then my devotees lose. If my devotees lose, then I lose. So he is thinking, that's not a good deal. So he is thinking all this. He has all these thoughts, which means he is no longer swimming. He is at the same spot. And what happens in the meantime, as Ram is thinking all this, Sita Devi goes to the other side. She touches the other side and she goes to the other side and she comes back and she wins the competition. But what happened to Ram? Ram was midway and he's thinking, but if I lose, then my Kripa Shakti loses. But then if Sita Devi loses, my Kripa Shakti loses, my devotees will lose. My devotees will lose and I will get a bad name. Like that, the thoughts are going on. And his meditation is interrupted by the loud laughter of Sita and Lakshman. So Sita, idea was there that we should have this sport. And Sita came back. And who won now? Who won this swimming competition? Sita. So Sita is so happy. After 10 years of difficult stay in the forest, after 10 years of troublesome vanvas, 10 years later, first time there is some happiness in their life. And Sita Devi is so much jumping with joy and say, I won that sport, I won that sport. And seeing the happiness of Sita Devi, Lakshman is also very happy. Right? So Lakshman and Sita, they are very, very happy and they are really having a nice time. And the meditation of Ram was thinking in the middle of the river. His meditation is broken by the loud laughter of Sita and Lakshman. And then Ram starts thinking, if by my losing, Sita will be so happy, if by my losing, Lakshman will be so happy, then I am prepared to lose in every competition. So, one time, one newly married couple, they went to one sannyasi. And when they approached the sannyasi, they asked, we got recently married, so do you have some suggestions for us? And that sannyasi gave this story about Ram, Sita and Lakshman. And then he said, in any marriage, there will be fights, there will be misunderstandings. But in that misunderstanding, every time there is a fight, every time there is a misunderstanding, if the husband always wins, then it is a third class marriage. In a marriage, There will be fights, there will be misunderstandings. If every time the husband wins, then what is the marriage? What is the marriage? Third class marriage. So then the wife who was sitting next to the husband, she became very happy. Then she is telling the husband, "Suna na? अच्छे से ध्यान से सुनो." Then she asked the sannyasi, "What is a higher marriage?" Then the sannyasi said, "If in a marriage, whenever there is a misunderstanding, whenever there is a fight, all the time, if the wife wins, then it is a second class marriage." Then the husband is saying, देखा second class marriage ही है, ऐसा कुछ बड़ी चीज नहीं है. Then both of them got confused. If the husband wins all the time, it is a third class marriage. If the wife wins all the time, it is a second class marriage. But who wants a third class marriage and who wants a second class marriage? What is the hope in every marriage? What class marriage it should be? First class. So then both of them, they asked the question to the sannyasi, then what is the definition of a first class marriage? Then the sannyasi said, the first class marriage is not when all the time the husband wins. The first class marriage is not when all the time the wife wins. The first class marriage is in all the fights, the principle of love wins. And what is the principle of love? As we discussed, the difference between liking and loving. What was loving? Giving. So what did Ram do in that situation? He gave happiness to Sita. He could have won. His arms are long, he had a lot of power, but he stopped midway. And why did he stop midway? So that Sita gets enough time to go and win. And then when Sita won, what was the feeling in Ram's heart? Oh no, today Sita won and I lost, so I am unhappy. What was the feeling of Ram? I just explained. Ram was extremely happy and he was saying, if by my losing Sita is so happy, if by my losing Lakshman is so happy, then I am ready to lose all the time. So what should be the basis of fights in a marriage? It should not be important whether I win or you win. What is important is at the end of that fight, both of us should be happy. You know what it means? It means sometimes I win and you lose. And sometimes you win and I lose. And we should adjust with each other. Sometimes I lose, sometimes you lose. In this way, what is important is we give happiness to the other person and we are not interested in receiving happiness from the other person. So these are some definitions. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a very beautiful shloka which mentions the difference between fake love and real love. And the example that is given is, iron is a metal and gold is a metal. But what is the value of iron as compared to the value of gold? Gold 1 kg is 1 crore 30 lakhs. What is the cost of 1 kg gold? 1 crore 30 lakhs. And you know what is the cost of 1 kg iron? 1 kg iron maybe 1000 rupees. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is a scripture, it tells us love and fake love. It is the difference between gold and iron. Both look like metals, but iron, the value is very less. So when you like somebody and you're only interested in using that person for your own happiness, anybody can do it. But when you love somebody, then what do? You want to give happiness to that person, right? One of our saints, his name is Srila Rupa Goswami. And this Rupa Goswami says, there are 6 activities that we should do for exchanging love with another person. It is not about receiving, it is not about giving, it is about exchanging love. So what does he say? He says, Dadati pratigrinati guhyam akhyati prichhati bhungte bhojayate chaiva shadvidha priti lakshanam. Shadvidha priti lakshanam. There are 6 symptoms of priti, love. What are the 6 symptoms? What was the difference between loving and liking? Yeah. Receiving is liking and giving is. So Rupa Goswami, he says the basic difference, the basic 6 activities that we have to do to exchange love is Dadati means you give gifts. Pratigrinati means you receive gifts. Guhyam akhyati means you tell the secrets in your heart to somebody. You don't tell it to the whole world, but you tell it to somebody whom you trust. And you can also ask the secrets of that person's heart to yourself. By exchanging secrets, you develop love for that person. By exchanging gifts, you develop love for the person. And the third thing he says is Bhungte Bhojayate. Bhungte Bhojayate means you accept food that is lovingly prepared by the other person, and sometimes you cook food lovingly for the other person and you feed that person. And Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the greatest authorities in the bhakti tradition, is saying if you do these 6 activities with somebody, it will enhance love. But what is first between giving and receiving? What is first, as Rupa Goswami? Dadati. Dadati means giving. So, who should initiate giving gifts? The other person or us? Us. Guhyam akhyati prichati means you tell secrets from your heart to somebody else. Not that you go to people and say, tell me something secret about your life. If you don't reveal your heart to somebody, why will that person reveal his or her heart to you? So just see how Rupa Goswami is very intelligent and is saying, love is not about receiving. Love is actually about giving. One time, one husband and wife, they were having a conversation. And the husband and the wife, they were thinking about what is their priority list. So the wife was asked by the husband, can you tell me the priority list in your life? So she said, my first priority is you, husband. Then she said, the second priority is the kids, the children that we have. And then she said, the third priority is me. And she was very happy because she said, my first priority is you. Then she asked the husband, what is your priority list? You know what the husband said? The husband said, my first priority is me. My second priority is the kids. And my third priority is you. And the wife felt very bad. The wife had tears in her eyes and she started saying, oh, I thought you really love me, but you are saying that I'm third on the priority list. And then the husband explained something. The husband explained, you know why I put myself on the priority list? Because I want to take care of myself so that I can live long. And when I live long, I can earn more money for the family. And I can work hard for the family. And the more I am healthy, the more I am fit, the more I work hard, the more I earn money, I can give all that money to you and I can give all that money to my children. So, why I put myself on the priority list? Not because I am selfish, but because I want to serve you. If a husband puts himself on the last priority in the priority list, he says, no, I want to take care of my wife, I want to take care of my kids, I want to take care of my parents, and I will not take care of myself. I am last on the priority list, right? Will his health be good? And with a not good health, with a bad health, will he be able to really work good? And if he's not working good, will he be able to earn money good? And if he's not able to earn any money good, how will we take care of the family? So to take care of the family, he has to earn good money. To have good money, he should have a good job. To have a good job, he should have good health. But to have good health, if he puts himself on the last priority, can he take care of himself properly? So there is a difference between the duties of a wife and the duties of a husband. What is the duties of a wife? Mother ka kya care hai? She's not earning any money many times. She's just taking care of the kids. So she's saying, my first priority is the husband. My second priority is the kids. And my third priority is me. But what about the husband? If the husband says like that, I am the last priority for myself, then what will happen? The whole family will collapse. So do you understand this? That sometimes loving somebody is not just about making big talking that you are the first priority in my life. Sometimes loving somebody includes putting yourself on the first priority. Why? So that you can earn more money and you can take care of them. One princess, she became a queen and then she wanted to marry her son. So he is from a rich family. He is going to be the next king. And because he is going to be the next king, many other princesses, they wanted to marry this prince because they knew we will have a very nice, rich life. So finally, this queen, the mother of the prince, she shortlisted three girls. All of them were three princesses. They were from some royal family somewhere. Okay. And because it is shortlisting, now she wants to know which of these three girls, all of them are rich, all of them are beautiful, all of them are from royal family, but which one of these three girls is suitable for my young boy? So what did she do? How to decide this? She did something very interesting. She called these three princesses and she gave them some money. She gave them 10,000 gold coins. And she said, because you are one of the girls who can marry my son, I want to just give you some gift. So she gave 10,000 gold coins. And 1 month later, she called all the three girls. Then she asked the first girl, where did you spend that money? So she said, I spent all that money on cosmetics because I want to become more and more beautiful. Because if you marry me to your son, then I should look beautiful, right? She asked the second princess, how did you spend 10,000 gold coins? So she said, actually, I didn't spend it on cosmetics. I started one old age home and one orphanage. एक अनाथ आश्रम शुरू किया मैंने और एक वृद्धाश्रम शुरू किया मैंने. And she said, why did you do this? Because she said, real beauty is about caring for others. So Queen said, okay, good proposal. Then she asked the third girl, where did you spend all that money? And that girl said, I invested that 10,000 gold coins in a bank. And after 1 month, the amount is increased to 10,100 gold coins because I earned some interest on that gold coins. Now, if you were the mother of this prince and you want to marry your son to a suitable girl, will you marry your boy, your prince, to the first girl, the second girl, or the third girl? How many of you think the first girl who spent 10,000 gold coins on cosmetics and beauty is the right girl for this son? No? Anybody? How many of you think the second girl is the best one to marry the prince because she spent money not on herself but she spent money on Vriddhashram and Anathashram? How many of you feel like this? Yeah, raise your hands. Okay. Now rest others. How many of you feel that the third girl is the best girl? Why? Because she is not spending money on herself and she is not even spending money on anybody else, but she is investing that money and increasing that money because if you want to lead a family life, then you need money. So where did she put that money? She put that money for the family. She put that money to increase that money for her marriage with the son. How many of you feel that the third girl is the right girl for this prince? Okay. And what about the rest of the others? You are still thinking? Okay. So, just to tell you the truth, the queen said, I don't want to marry my boy to a selfish girl who's interested only in her beauty. Today she has spent 10,000 gold coins. Tomorrow she'll spend more gold coins. The queen said, I also don't want to marry my son to a princess who is not interested in the family and is interested in others. She wants to benefit somebody else, but she is not saving any money for the marriage. And she decided that I will marry my son to the third princess. Why? Because she wants to make the marriage secure. So she is thinking about the success of the marriage with her son. So who's really caring for the son? See, the second girl may be selfless. She is better than the first girl who is selfish. But is she interested in caring for the son? जिसके साथ शादी होने वाली है उसके लिए कुछ सोचा क्या उसने? So in a marriage, if that wife is thinking about the whole world, but the wife is not thinking about the husband, how long will that marriage go on? So now after this explanation, how many of you think, if you are the mother of the prince, that you would marry the prince to the third girl? Because she is thinking about the husband, right? She is thinking about giving. What is the point of giving to some strangers when your own husband is not receiving something from you. Better is to give to your own husband and then increase that money, and then you can also spend it for cosmetics and you can also spend it for giving to others. So in this way, there's a difference between loving and liking. Actually, because of not understanding the difference between loving and liking, I can tell you there are so many fights in this world. Within a marriage or within a love affair, many times there are fights because of unmet expectations. The partner, they have some expectations from each other, and those expectations are not met. And when those expectations are not met, then there is fighting with each other. So there is a statistic that in one lifetime, on an average, a person will have three huge heartbreaks. At least in three relationships, there will be a big disappointment on an average. The next statistic is that an average human being will spend at least 1.5 years in his whole life recovering from emotional shocks. Maybe in his friendship, he received a bad experience. Maybe in his marriage, he received a bad experience. Maybe he had some love affair with somebody, but then that person was not capable of really meeting his expectations. So 1.5 year in our whole life, we are going to spend just recovering from a bad expectation. And on an average, there are around 2000 arguments between parents and their children in 1 year. So if there are 2000 arguments in 1 year, how many arguments per day? At least 5 to 6 arguments per day. You know what it means? It means the parents also are not able to understand the expectations of their children, and the children are not able to meet the expectations of the fathers. Think about it. If these fights go on, what is the nature of the peace at home? If the husband and wife always keep shouting at each other, always keep quarreling with each other, what is the situation at home? But why is this happening? It is happening because of an unclear understanding of love and like. They think marriage is only for receiving from the other person, it is not about giving to the other person. Right? In mathematics, 1 plus 1 is equal to, now I'll teach you the mathematics of relationships. One boy and one girl, if they come together, it is 1 plus 1, right? In mathematics, 1 plus 1 is 2. But in a relationship, it gives different. 1 plus 1 sometimes gives a negative figure when they have a toxic relationship with each other. It starts with love, but it very soon degrades into misunderstandings and shouting at each other, fighting with each other. So what happens? Anytime this young boy and this young girl, before marriage or after marriage, if they come together, what will happen? When you fight with your friend, maybe boyfriend, we all have our friends, right? So on the day when you have a big fight with your friend, how is your mood? How do you feel? Yes, anybody would like to explain? Frustrated, you feel sad, you feel morose, sometimes you feel cheated, sometimes you feel, how can my friend behave like this, right? So what if between two boys, if there is a relationship, a friendship, and we feel morose, we feel frustrated, we feel disappointed, बुरा लगता है कि नहीं? Can you imagine if there is an expectation of love in a love affair between a young boy and a young girl, or a husband and wife, and when husband and wife, is husband-wife relationship more deeper than a friend-friend relationship in the college, or it is not deeper, it is less deeper? What is it? Husband-wife relationship, is it deeper than friend-friend relationship in a college, or it is not deeper? Yes, who can tell me? Husband-wife relationship, the wife, the girl has left behind her family, her mother, father, brother, sister, and she is going into another person's home. It's actually a big sacrifice. and it is based on a lot of trust, because none of us will change our home and go to another home where we'll get another mother, we'll get another father, we'll get another sister, we'll get another brother, a whole new family. So it is based on a lot of trust, and it's a much deeper relationship than the friend-friend relationship in the college. What happens if you don't agree with your friend in college? What damage happens to us emotionally? Yes, दोस्त से एक थोड़ा झगड़ा हो गया कॉलेज में. You wanted some notes from him, but he did not give the notes. So how much emotional damage is caused? Little bit. Now imagine in a married relationship, the girl is asking for some money from the husband for running the home, and the husband does not give that money. Can you imagine the emotional damage that happens to the girls? So is the husband-wife relationship deeper than the friend-friend relationship, or it is not deeper? It is much deeper, right? So if in a friend-friend relationship, when there is a disagreement, there is a misunderstanding, you are saying it causes disappointment, it causes pain. In a love relationship, in a marriage, when there is a misunderstanding and when there is a fight, can you imagine how much deeper disappointment there will be? And that's why when there is a toxic relationship, when there is misunderstandings, when there is disappointments, when there is fighting in a marriage, 1 plus 1 is equal to negative numbers. It's not 2. Sometimes there are some relationships, some marriages in which it's not a toxic relationship. There is no misunderstandings. They understand each other, but it is purely for mutual benefit. फायदा करने के लिए है. So sometimes some boys in college, they will have friendship with the most intelligent boy in the college. You know why? Because the most intelligent boy can teach him or can revise just before the exam. So why should I make friendship with the most intelligent boy? Because मेरा फायदा है. So these relationships are called transactional relationships. Transactional relationships means when you go to the bank, you give some money, they put it in the bank, they make some entry, हो गया, transaction हो गया. Do you know the name of the person who's sitting at the counter? No. Do you know his birth date? No. Do you know his name? No. It's a transaction based relationship. So sometimes, you enter into a lift in some building or in some college, there is a lift, and there's a lift man there, and you tell the lift man, fifth floor pe jana hai mujhe. Then he presses the fifth button. Then you go to the fifth floor. When you come out of the fifth floor, do you turn back and tell him, "Thank you so much for taking me to the fifth floor"? It was a transactional relationship. There was no exchange of affection. There was no exchange of emotions. So in such cases, 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. Why is it 0? Why was it negative in the previous case? Because there was a heartburn, there was pain, there was trouble. So 1 plus 1 in a toxic relationship is negative. But in a transactional relationship, it is 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. No positive emotions and no negative emotions. No pain, but no gain also. It was just a transactional relationship. But there are some relationships that are based on giving. Like I gave that example of Sita Ram relationship. Why was Sita trying to have a sport? Sita was trying to have a sport because she was thinking, 10 साल हो गए वनवास में, इतने तकलीफ हो रहे हैं सबको, तो थोड़ा अगर स्पोर्ट्स खेलेंगे थोड़ा हंसी मजाक होगा. So Sita wanted to give happiness to Ram. And why did Ram lose the sport of swimming? Because he wanted to give happiness to Sita. In such relationships, 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. In such relationships, 1 plus 1 is not equal to negative numbers. In such relationships, 1 plus 1 is not even equal to 0. In such relationships, 1 plus 1 can be very positive number. And if there is a very caring attitude towards each other, if there is a very nice sacrificing attitude for each other, then it can actually reach infinity on the positive side. So we discussed about 4 mathematics. What was in mathematics 1 plus 1? In India also it is 2. In America also it is 2. In Europe also it is 2. So in mathematics 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. In a toxic relationship where there is always fighting with each other, there is disappointment with each other, there is shouting at each other, there is verbal arguments with each other, what is 1 plus 1? Negative numbers. In a transactional relationship, मैं तेरा काम करूंगा, तू मेरा काम कर. What will be 1 plus 1? No gain, no pain. But in a positive, service-based relationship, when the mood is to give to the other person, what will be the potential of 1 plus 1? It can be positive and it can reach infinity. Rabindranath Tagore, he spoke something very nice. He said, one day I was dreaming, and in my dream, I dreamt that life is joy. When I woke up, I found out that actually life is meant for service. Life is meant for pleasing others. And as I started serving, I found out service is joy. So the joy that we are searching for, we think that joy will come in our life automatically. But what is Rabindranath Tagore saying? That joy which is missing in our life will come not by receiving. The joy that is missing in our life will come when we serve somebody, when we give to somebody. And based on that, when you give to somebody, you win the trust of that person. You win the friendship of that person. Then there are no misunderstandings. Then there is no fighting with each other. And then that relationship stays good, stays strong for a long amount of time. So this is the mathematics of relationships. I'll give you another definition of love. What was the definition of love that we are discussing till now? The example that we are taking is marriage relationship, right? We are taking that example. A man, woman, boy, girl relationship. There is another relationship which is also based on love, which is very common. It is a mother-child relationship. We'll just take this example. A mother, when she conceives a baby in her womb, in her stomach, do you know that she cannot sleep properly? Because there are a lot of bodily changes that happen in her body. She cannot even sleep properly. And when she's sleeping, because her stomach is enlarged, right? So she cannot sleep on the side. You know why? Because then there is pressure on the baby. So many times for 9 months, when the mother is pregnant, she cannot sleep properly. Now, if she likes to eat certain things, but the doctor says because there is a small tender, है ना, उसका जो त्वचा रहता है बहुत soft रहता है बेबी का पेट में. If she eats very spicy things, if she eats very pungent things, then it causes harm to the baby inside. So the doctor says for the next 9 months, you can't eat too much spicy, you can't eat too much bitter, you can't eat too much sour like pickles. अचार वगैरह खा नहीं सकते, मिर्ची वगैरह खा नहीं सकते. What happens if the mother eats mirchi? What happens if the mother eats pickle? What happens if the mother eats something very, very strong? The soft skin of the baby inside, it gets hurt. Because whatever is being eaten by the mother, it goes to the baby. So I can tell you, the mother has to make a lot of sacrifice for the child when she is pregnant. So is that love or is that like? Only 2 people are answering. Is it love? Why? Why is it love? Because it's about giving. It's about sacrificing some of her comforts and some of her pleasures. I'll tell you one story. One time, in one king's sabha, 2 females came, 2 mothers came, and they were having a baby. And they were saying, this child is mine, ye mera bachcha hai. And the other woman was saying, ye mera bachcha hai. And both of them were saying, ye mera bachcha hai. And the minister was completely confused. So the minister came to the king and he said to the king, can you please solve it? So what is the challenge? He says, she is saying this child belongs to her. And she is saying the child belongs to her, and none of us can understand whom the child belongs to. So can you please solve it? The king said, very simple. You don't have to think much. Just bring the baby close to me. वो baby को सामने लाया. He said, now I'll take my sword and I'll cut the baby into exact 2 parts. And we'll give the 2 parts to the 2 mothers. Simple. कैसे पता चलेगा नहीं तो कि कौन उसकी माँ है? As soon as he said that, he took out the sword One of the mother said, "No, he's not my baby. You give the baby to the other mother." What did she say? She said, "This is not my baby. You give the baby to the other mother." Okay? You know what the king said? The king said, the person who said this, she is the real mother. हिंदी में बोलूं? दो औरतें हैं, एक बोल रही है मेरा बच्चा है, दूसरा बोलती है मेरा बच्चा है। राजा बोलता है सिंपल है, उसको काटता हूं मैं, दोनों को आधा आधा दे दूंगा। जैसे ही उसने बोला, तलवार निकाला, एक बोली नहीं, ये मेरा बच्चा नहीं है, ये बच्चा उसको दे दो। तो राजा बोल रहा है जिसने ये बोला वो उसकी सच्ची मां है। क्यों? She cannot even tolerate thinking that the baby will be cut into half. Whereas the other mother, she is not the real mother. So when she heard कि ये बच्चे को आधा काटेंगे, it did not hurt the heart. If the mother has kept the baby in her stomach for 9 months, you know what kind of sacrifice she has to undergo. After undergoing that kind of sacrifice, just the thought, ये विचार कि this baby will be cut into half, it is so disturbing, because mother's love for the child is not based on receiving. Mother's love for the child is based on giving. She could not even tolerate the thought of the baby getting cut into half. And the king is so intelligent, he said, "This is how you take out." कैसे समझेगा कौन माँ है? She is the real well-wisher of the child. And how the king understood that she is the real well-wisher of the child? By understanding who wants to give to the child happiness. So that's why even in a marriage relationship, which we were talking about and discussing before, we discussed how the husband was saying, "I am first on my priority list." But what was the reason why he put himself on the priority list? Because he wants to give to the family. Why did the rich queen decide to marry her son to the third daughter? Because she was concerned more about the son. And even in a mother-child relationship, we are seeing how the mother's love is so much for the child. She wants to give to the child. So, what is the difference between fake love and real love? Fake love is like a fountain. It looks like it is giving, but actually it is receiving. नीचे से पानी, the fountain is receiving to throw, right? And real love is like a waterfall. पाण्याचा झरा असतो ना. So what happens in a waterfall? Water just keeps on flowing. The waterfall does not receive any water. The waterfall just keeps giving water, right? So that is the difference between fake love and real love. Now, first we discussed about how love is the maximum word that is used in movies, novels, songs, but we discussed how 50% of the movies is based on basically a wrong understanding of love, because most of the love stories, they end in pain, they end in frustration, they end in disappointment. Then we discussed about the examples of great personalities who were great personalities, but because they had a wrong definition of love, their career ended. Vishwamitra's career ended. Shaubari Rishi's career ended. Then we discussed about the difference between liking and loving. And then we discussed about the mathematics of relationships, 1 plus 1. And then we discussed about mother's love. How mother's love is another example of only giving. Now we'll talk about a higher level of love. This higher level of love is practiced by the saintly people. There is one example of a saint called Haridas Thakur. This Haridas Thakur was actually born in a family outside the Hindu religion. So what happened? From his childhood, when he was chanting God's names, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when he was chanting these holy names, people from his religion, they said, "Oh, look at him, he's from our religion, but he keeps chanting the names of God from the Hindu religion, so we don't want to talk to him, you throw him out." So nobody talked with him from his religion. And because he was born in another religion, even though he was chanting the names of Krishna, people from Hindu religion, they were so orthodox, they said, "See, even if he is chanting Krishna's names, but actually he is from another religion, so what business we have to do with him? So we don't want to accept him." This Haridas, From his childhood days, he was all alone. Nobody talked with him. The people from his religion did not talk, and people from Hindu religion did not talk. But what was he experiencing? He was experiencing closeness to God. Why? Because he was chanting the names of God, right? So he is going on, and then he became a very famous person, and many people they became envious of him. Why is Haridas Thakur such a famous person? So there was one particular zamindar. His name was Ramachandra Khan. In those days, actually, he was born in a Hindu family, but he was converted to another religion. So his name was Ramachandra Khan. So he became envious of Haridas Thakur. So what to do now? How to destroy his career? How was Vishwamitra Muni's career destroyed? By sending Menka. So he said, I will also destroy Haridas Thakur's career by sending some beautiful woman. So he hired a beautiful woman and he said, Haridas Thakur is chanting there. You go and meet him in the middle of the night and you try to go close to him. And when you go close to him, when he becomes attracted to you, then I will be there hiding with my soldiers and I will immediately capture him and then I'll tell the whole world, see, he's a saintly person, but look at him, he's enjoying with a woman in the middle of the night. So it was a trap basically. So this Ramchandra Khan, to end the career of Haridas Thakur, he sent a beautiful woman. And this beautiful woman in the middle of the night, there is nobody around. He's all alone and he's chanting Hare Krishna. And this beautiful woman came and she said, there is nobody around. You are such a young man. I am a young girl. Nobody here to know what will happen here. Can I come close to you? Can we have some love? You know what Haridas Thakur said? Haridas Thakur said, can you wait for some time? Because I have not yet finished my chanting. After I finish my chanting, I'll talk to you. So you sit here. Wait for me. Whole night, Haridas Thakur kept on chanting. That beautiful young girl is waiting for him. But morning came, the sun rose. So the woman said, Abhi kya? Raat to chali gayi. So he said, sorry, I could not complete my chanting. You come tomorrow. I'll satisfy you. Second night, this woman, beautiful woman came and she's trying to trap him. So she's saying, you are such a beautiful man. I am such a beautiful girl. Can we come together for making love? So he said, actually, I am really very sorry. I did not complete my chanting. Just wait here for some time. I'll complete my chanting and then I'll satisfy you. So she again sat there and is chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So she is hearing all that chanting. Again, morning came. Whole night is chanting. So he also has a lot of power of resisting temptations. Vishwamitra Muni could not resist that temptation. And do you remember what I mentioned about Vishwamitra Muni and Menka? He did not even see Menka. He just heard the payal of Menka. But Haridas Thakur is seeing this prostitute. So he said, I'm really very sorry. I could not satisfy you. Can you please come tonight? So now this is the third night. Again, this beautiful woman, she puts on all cosmetics and she comes there and she says, can we have love today? And he says, I'm really very sorry, but can you please sit here? I'll just finish my chanting and then I'll satisfy you. Third night, again this woman sits there and she is listening to Haridas Thakur's chanting. And in the morning, this prostitute, she is transformed by the sense control of Haridas Thakur. 3 nights there was a chance to enjoy, but he did not enjoy. In fact, he was chanting so purely that prostitute got convinced and she revealed all the details. She said, actually, I can't cheat you, but I understood you are really a saintly person. Actually, this whole thing is a trap and Ramchandra Khan, he wanted to spoil your name and he and the guards are waiting hereby to trap you. But I got transformed by your chanting. Can you please teach me how to chant Hare Krishna? So, think about it. The same power which completely destroyed the career of Indra, the same power that destroyed the meditation of 60,000 years of Vishwamitra Muni, the same power, sensual attraction that destroyed the career of Shaubhari Rishi. And who is Shaubhari Rishi? He is in the water doing tapasya. He does not even want to be on the land. That same power that destroyed the career of Bill Clinton, that same power that destroyed the career of Julius Caesar, that same power in all its strength, approached Haridas Thakur not just once, not just twice, but three times, but because he was experiencing a deeper satisfaction in his heart based on chanting of the holy names, he had the strength to say no to this beautiful girl three times. There is another saint, his name is Raghunath Das Goswami. This Raghunath Das Goswami, his mother and father are talking with each other, and the father is telling the mother is saying, when will this Raghunath, when will he get busy in family affairs? Because he's always thinking about God. So what does the father say? He says, Indra sama Aishwarya, Stri Apsara sama, Eisab bandite, Nari leka yara mana. His father is telling the mother, Indra sama Aishwarya. Raghunath has Aishwarya like Indra. And Stri Apsara sama. Actually, the wife of Raghunath was so beautiful, she was like an Apsara. So, father of Raghunath is saying, the Aishwarya of Indra and the beauty of an Apsara, they could not affect Raghunath's mind. What we can do? So, how can Raghunath be not affected by wealth? How can Raghunath not be affected by the beauty of an Apsara? When everyone else, all this beautiful Menka, this beautiful Mastani, beautiful Cleopatra, they did what they wanted to do. But how did Raghunath? How is he saved? How is Haridas Thakur saved? Because they are experiencing a deeper satisfaction, because they are experiencing a deeper level of relationship. They are in love with God. And when you are experiencing a deeper satisfaction in your relationship with God, then you don't need satisfaction, or you don't need to receive anything from anybody of this world. So, this is a much deeper range, and this is a much deeper level of love. I'll tell you one story in the south. This is a story from Sri Rangam. In Sri Rangam, there is a deity of Ranganath Swami. Ranganath Swami is Lord Vishnu. And once in a while, there is a festival on which the small murti of Vishnu, it comes out on a palki. So one such festival was going on, and Ranganath Swami, fully decorated and very nicely looking, he was brought on a palki. And the whole town of Sri Rangam is on the streets to take darshan of Ranganath Swami. And everyone is looking at Ranganath Swami, Vishnu. Only one person was looking somewhere else. Actually, there was one beautiful girl. Her name was Rakshambal. And this Rakshambal was a devotee of Vishnu. So she was there on the streets. And the whole town, thousands and thousands of people are all looking at Lord Vishnu. And this Rakshambal was also looking at Vishnu. But there was one person, his name was Dhanurdas. This Dhanurdas, very shamelessly, nirlajja hoke, you know what he was doing? When everyone was looking at Vishnu, he was looking at Rakshambal. He was looking at her. Everyone was looking at Vishnu. So, one of the sannyasis who was taking care of Lord Vishnu, he saw this. This young man is so shameless. Instead of taking darshan of Lord Vishnu, he is looking at this beautiful girl. So he went and told Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujacharya called his Dhanurdas. He said, tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, you come and meet me. So he said, okay. Morning 5 o'clock, he took him to the temple of Ranganath Swami, the main murti of Lord Vishnu. And he took him, so he does not know, Dhanurdas does not know why I was called in the morning. Then he said, do you like to see beautiful face? He says, yes. He became shameless and he said, yes. So that's why when the whole town was looking at Lord Vishnu, I was looking at Rakshambal. So then Ramanujacharya, because he's sannyasi, he has access to the main altar where the deities are there. Generally, all of us don't have access to go inside, right? We take darshan from a distance. But the pujari, where does he stand? The pujari stands just next to the murti. So Ramanujacharya, because he was a sannyasi, he had access to the altar. He took this Dhanurdas just next to the deity of Lord Ranganath and he said, do you like to see a beautiful face? He said, yes. He said, look at this beautiful face. And because Ramanujacharya showed to Dhanurdas that beautiful face of Lord Vishnu, it became more beautiful. Because a devotee is explaining the beauty of the Lord. And this Dhanurdas who was so shameless, who was so attracted to beauty that he used to only keep looking at Rakshambal. When he looked at the beauty of Lord Vishnu, he was completely captured. His eyes became fixed on the beautiful eyes of Lord Ranganath Swami. His eyes became fixed on the beautiful face of Lord Ranganath Swami. And then there were tears from his eyes. And then he told Ramanujacharya, I am so grateful to you. I am so thankful to you for this because I was attracted to the false beauty of this world. Now I am attracted to the eternal beauty. Will the beauty of that beautiful woman change or will it remain constant for 60 years? Change. What about the beauty of Lord Jagannath? What about the beauty of Lord Krishna? What about the beauty of Lord Vishnu? What about the beauty of Lord Ramchandra? It is eternal, it is constant. So, but Ramanujacharya was such a kind hearted person. You know what he did? After the transformation of Dhanurdas, he called Rakshambal also and he said, he likes you very much. But today, he has developed love for Lord Ranganath Swami and you are a child of Ranganath Swami. You are a child of Vishnu. You are a child of God. So, he will now marry you and he will love you also. And Ramanujacharya, out of his kindness, himself performed a marriage, arranged the marriage of Dhanurdas and Rakshambal. So, what is the difference between the ordinary marriage of this world and the marriage that Ramanujacharya arranged of Dhanurdas and Rakshambal? The ordinary marriage of this world, the husband will love the wife only as long as she is beautiful. But one day, when the wife's beauty, after some time, because of old age, it will fade away, then what will happen? He will say, now I am no longer receiving happiness from the face of my wife. So, when you don't receive happiness from the face of your wife, then what will you do with the wife? Then there will be fights, then there will be disagreements, there will be disappointments, then there will be frustration. But if this Dhanurdas knows now that the beauty of this world is temporary, but actually beauty of God is permanent, and the child of God, I should not expect permanent beauty from the child of God, but I should marry her, I should take care of her, I should sacrifice for her, and I should give to her. So, will this marriage last long? So, ordinary marriage, when they are based on physical attraction, ordinary marriage, when it is based on I like your face and I want happiness from your face, or I like your body, I want happiness from your body, how long will it last? It will last for some years. Till the time the body is beautiful, till the time the face is beautiful. But if a husband or a boy marries a girl saying she is a child of God, God has eternal beauty, God has permanent beauty. This child of God does not have permanent beauty. So the beauty will fade away after some time. I should not be attracted to receiving happiness from the beauty, but I should be attached to giving happiness. So this relationship, will it break? Will there be disappointment in this relationship? Will there be frustration in this relationship? Somehow, unfortunately, the only definition of love in this world is actually like the definition of that boy whom I mentioned. He says, I love chicken. And when he says, I love chicken, he will use the chicken for his happiness. Similarly, in this world, when somebody says, I love this girl, you know what it means? What basically it means is, I will use that girl for my happiness. But when Ram and Sita are talking about love, when Radha and Krishna are talking about love, it is not based on receiving, it is based on giving. I'll end with the last story. There was one time in Dwarka when Krishna had his hand on his head like this, and Narad Muni happened to be here. So Narad Muni asked, what happened, Krishna? Why do you have your hand on your head? So Krishna said, I have a headache. Sir dard kar raha hai mera. Oh, Krishna has a headache. Let us do something for it. So they went to a Vaidya. What should we do? So he said, for ordinary people, when they have a headache, then this jadi booty is the medicine. But when Krishna has a headache, that's a separate headache. That's a different quality of headache. So the solution for this is some great personality should give foot dust. पैरों की धूल देनी चाहिए. वो पैरों की धूल अगर कृष्णा को देंगे तो उनका हेडेक जाएगा. So Narada Muni said, that's very simple. I'll go. So he went to big sadhus in the Himalayas, and they were doing tapasya. And Narad Muni went to them and said, "Do you know Krishna in Dwarka has a headache?" They said, "Oh, really? This is such a sad situation. What is the medicine?" And he said, "I asked a Vaidya. The Vaidya said, some great people have to give foot dust. पैरों की धूल देनी चाहिए. So can you please give? You are such great personalities. You are doing tapasya in the Himalayas." They said, "No, we won't give." So why? Because if we give foot dust and that foot dust is applied to Krishna, what will happen to us? We will go to hell. हमको तो नरक में जाना पड़ेगा. Anybody of you has gone to Pandharpur? Nobody has gone to Pandharpur. So when you go to Pandharpur, what do? There they allow you to touch your head to the foot of the Supreme Lord, Vitthal, right? So the dust from Krishna should come on our head. Can you do the reverse? In Pandharpur, if you tell the pujari, "I want to give my foot dust to Vitthal," what will they do with you? So these the big rishis and munis in Himalayas, they said, "We cannot do this, we cannot do this. We will go to hell eternally. We cannot do this." So Narad Muni said, "But what about the headache of Krishna?" They said, "We don't care about the headache of Krishna, but we don't want to go to hell." Then Narad Muni came back. He said to the Vaidya, "Are these big rishis and munis, they are not giving food dust, so what to do?" He said, "Somebody has to give. That is the medicine. So what to do?" Narad Muni said, "Let me go to the homes of big jnanis. They have a lot of knowledge. They are great personalities." So he went to the homes of big jnanis and he said, "Krishna has a headache." "Oh, Krishna has a headache. That's a big calamity. What is to do?" He said, "I need some foot dust. Will you give?" He said, "No." "Why you won't give foot dust?" So they said, "If we give foot dust, what will happen to us? We'll go to hell. We don't want to go to hell. We'll not give foot dust." So then he came back. So then they went to Krishna and they said, "What to do? Nobody is giving foot dust." He said, "Whom did you approach?" So we approached the Gyanis, we approached the Rishis and the Munis. Then Krishna said, "See, these Gyanis, they have a lot of knowledge. They go to Gurukul. In Gurukul, they have studied many books. And it is very difficult for such people who have read many books, it is very difficult for them to give foot dust. And these sadhus and rishis, they are very great tapasvis. And it is very difficult for the tapasvis to give foot dust. I will give you one option. There are these gopis of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, they are the simple gopis. They never went to any Gurukul. They never did any tapasya. So why don't you go to this Vrindavan and ask these gopis for foot dust?" Narad Muni said, "Arey, these big jnanis did not give dust. These big tapasvi rishis did not give foot dust. Why the gopis will give foot dust?" But Krishna said, "No, you go and try." So Narad Muni went to Vrindavan. What were the gopis doing? The gopis were taking out water from a well. कुएं में से पानी निकाल रहे थे. And when they were taking out water from a well, they were singing some songs about Krishna. Not in Sanskrit language, but they are not well educated in any Gurukul. They are not doing any tapasya, but they were singing some songs in the local language. Narad Muni came there. They offered namaskars to Narad Muni, but they are pulling water. Then they said, "Do you know what happened? What happened?" "Krishna has a headache." "Oh, Krishna has a headache." They dropped that vessel. That vessel fell into the water in the well. It was a big shock for them. Krishna has a headache. Then they asked, "Oh, if Krishna has a headache, what is the solution? What is the solution?" He said, "The solution that the Vaidya is saying is they should receive some foot dust." And the gopis, they said, "Bas, itna sa." They sat on the side, they took their foot like this, and they started scraping all the foot dust from their feet. And they called all their friends also. And they said, "Hey Gopi, you come here. Hey Gopi, you come here." All the gopis came there and they started scraping foot dust. And there was a small collection of foot dust. And they said, "Narad Muni, please take this." Narad Muni, he knows what will happen when you put an ordinary person's foot dust on Krishna's forehead. So he said, "Wait a minute. I should not be guilty of cheating you." बाद में आप बोलेंगे कि नारद मुनि ने चीटिंग किया, तो मैं बता दूं आपको. Are you aware what happens when we put our foot dust on Krishna's forehead? They said, "Yeah, we'll go to hell." नरक में जाना पड़ेगा, सालों साल के लिए नरक में जाना पड़ेगा. So Narad Muni said, are you not afraid? They said, see, if Krishna's headache can go for one moment by our foot dust, and for one moment of solution for Krishna's headache, if we have to go to hell for an eternal life, what is the problem? लेकिन कृष्ण का हेडेक जाना चाहिए, हमारा अगर नरक में जाना पड़े तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है? Then Narad Muni understood what is the position of the gopis of Vrindavan. The gopis of Vrindavan are not into selfish receiving. They want to take out the pain of Krishna and they want to only give to Krishna. And then Narad Muni took that foot dust and went to Krishna. And Krishna with his own hands took the foot dust of the gopis and put it on his forehead and said, this is the solution to my headache. So what is the solution to Krishna's headache? The foot dust of truly well-wishing, selfless gopis. And that's why the love of the gopis is considered to be the highest. So we will say, what is so great about the gopis? क्या साधारण तो दिखते हैं. They wear an ordinary dress, they are not talking in Sanskrit language, they don't do big tapasya. So what is so great about gopis? The greatness of the gopis is they are not interested in the smallest selfishness and they are ready to tolerate the biggest pain in their life to give happiness to God. So this is the highest level of love that ever has been reached. And there is a shloka which is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna tells the gopis, actually in the Gita, 4th chapter, 11th shloka, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartma anuvartante manushya partha sarvashah. Krishna says, as you serve me as a living entity, all of us, whatever relationship we have with God, God reciprocates accordingly. If we give God little bit, then God will also reciprocate with us little bit. If we give ourselves to God completely, then God will also give himself completely. So Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyam. Whatever you do for me, I will reciprocate accordingly. This Krishna, the biggest person, he is forced to speak that he cannot reciprocate with the love of the gopis. So Krishna said, I reciprocate accordingly, but this Krishna became a liar. Why? Because the gopis gave themselves so selflessly, without any personal consideration, that Krishna had to say, I am sorry, but I cannot reciprocate with your pure, selfless love, and I will always remain under obligation. मैं हमेशा आपका ऋणी रहूंगा. Can you imagine a situation where God becomes a ऋणी for an ordinary person? What must be the quality of selflessness of the gopis? So, in this way, we discussed about the concept of love. We discussed about how love is misunderstood, and because it is misunderstood, it is misapplied. And then we saw how there are so many things, so many people are doing for love. They are searching for love, but mostly it ends in frustration, it ends in disappointment. And then we discussed the stories of very big, important people who thought they are in love, but because of their misunderstanding of love, there was a damage to their career. And then we discussed about how liking and loving are fundamentally different. And then we discussed about the mathematics. So 1 plus 1 is 2 in mathematics. 1 plus 1 becomes a negative number when it is a toxic relationship. 1 plus 1 becomes 0 in a transactional relationship. And 1 plus 1 has the potential to become infinity in a positive relationship. What is the example of positive relationship in which the love can become infinity? We saw that Sita Ram example. How Ram stopped to give pleasure to Sita, and Sita also became so happy because Ram agreed, and the whole purpose was to bring happiness into their sad life. And then we discussed mother's love for the child. What is the mother's love for the child based on? What was the quality of the mother for the child? What does the mother do for the child? Sacrifice. Lot of tyag, lot of sacrifice. Can you give some examples? What examples I mentioned? What is the sacrifice of the mother for the child? She can't sleep properly, she can't eat properly, right? So there is so much sacrifice for the child. And what was the story I mentioned about the mother sacrificing for the child? There were two females and both were saying, this is my child. And what did the real mother say? Don't kill the child, give the child to the other mother, right? So there's so much sacrifice from the mother's side, right? And then we came to the highest definition of love. First was love between a man and a woman, marriage relationship. Then we discussed about the love of a mother for the child, this very pure love. And then at the end we discussed the love that saints like Haridas Thakur and Raghunath Das Goswami, they had for Krishna. What did Haridas Thakur undergo to express his love for God? Nobody talked with him, nobody made any friendship with him, and he was also tested by the same power that tested so many rishis and munis. But did he fail or did he pass? He passed. It means he was experiencing something very high, right? And then we also discussed about Raghunath Das Goswami, and then at the end we discussed Sripad Ramanujacharya's story about Dhanur Das and Rakshambal. He was so shameless, he would look at Rakshambal, but when he was shown the beautiful eyes of Lord Vishnu, then he got attracted to the beautiful eyes of Lord Vishnu. Why? Because that beauty is spiritual beauty. That beauty is eternal beauty. But the beauty of this world is temporary. But what did Ramanujacharya do with Dhanurdas and Rakshambal? He got them married. And this time, because Dhanurdas is no longer seeing her as a beautiful girl, but he is seeing her as a child of God, he will take good care of her, right? And at the end, we discussed about the gopis whose love for Krishna is purely based on loving. And because it is purely based on loving, and they are willing to go to hell even for that, Krishna becomes obligated to them, and Krishna says, I cannot repay you. So this is the purity of their love. When somebody starts smoking, the first time somebody smokes, if you know anybody who started smoking in front of you, actually it's a very tough experience. It's a very painful experience. And the first smoking is also always like that. It's not a pleasurable experience, but still he does it. So the first time somebody smokes, it is very painful and it is actually an experiment. The next time he does it, it is beyond experiment, it becomes a little bit regular. Then slowly he keeps smoking more, then it becomes a habit. And when he smokes more, then that habit turns into addiction. So there are 4 levels of smoking. The first is the experiment, the second is regular, the third is habit, and the fourth is addiction. And beyond addiction, you know what it is? You can't live without smoking. But what was the original condition of this boy? Was it smoking? There are so many boys. I am one person who is living without smoking. Is smoking necessary for living? But if you ask this boy who has gone to the 5th level, he is no longer experimenting. He is no longer smoking regularly. He no longer has a habit. He is not an addict also. He is beyond an addict. He cannot give up. He is a chain smoker. Heard this word chain smoker? Chain smoker मतलब एक खत्म होता है तो दूसरा, दूसरा खत्म होता है तो तीसरा, उसको chain smoking बोलते हैं. If you ask this boy, is smoking necessary? What will be his answer? Of course it is necessary, right? But originally all of us, we are surviving without smoking. But just see, when you get into a bad habit, you come to a situation where you feel, I cannot live without smoking, right? Similarly, my dear friends, actually all of us, originally, we are meant to practice love in the real sense, the real love of giving, not of receiving, not of expecting, but always serving. But because of bad association. Why did that boy get into smoking? Because of bad association. कोई तो उसका दोस्त रहता है जो बोलता है अरे थोड़ा करने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, and धीरे धीरे he becomes an addict, right? Similarly, all of us also, actually we are pure and we are not impure. Originally we want to give to God, originally we want to give to our mother, originally we want to give to anybody, any friend. There is pleasure in giving, there is no pleasure in receiving. But because of bad association, we were taught bad things. So somebody taught us, अरे जीवन में खुशी चाहिए ना, देना मत सीखो. जीवन में अगर खुशी चाहिए तो लेना सीखो. You will get happiness by receiving, but we saw so many examples in which we saw that there is no happiness in receiving. Actually, real happiness is in giving. But how does that smoker who's on the fifth level of smoking, how will he come back to good health? If you want to rescue some person like that, you want to bring him to original health, how will you do it? You will take away the bad association. उसका जो स्मोकर फ्रेंड है ना, जिसने उसको ट्रैप किया, उसको बाहर निकालना पड़ेगा. वो जब तक उसकी जिंदगी में है तब तक वो स्मोकिंग छोड़ नहीं सकता है. उसके बुरे संगत को बाहर निकालना पड़ेगा. Similarly, all of us who have a wrong definition of love, our definition of love is we should receive, we should extract. When the person who taught us this wrong definition, when we go away from that person and when we associate more with people who will teach us the right definition of love, and the right definition of love is not to receive but is actually to give. So when we associate with the wrong people, we fall into wrong habits. When we associate with the right people, then we'll fall into right habits. If somebody wants good health, if somebody wants, his lungs to be strong, what is the effect of smoking on lungs? The lungs get damaged. And suppose somebody's lungs got damaged, and now the doctor is saying, you need to improve your lungs. So what should he do now? He should quit smoking, but it's not easy to quit smoking. He has to quit the association of smokers. Till the time he associates with smokers, he cannot quit smoking. The first step is not to quit smoking. The first step is to quit the association of smokers, and he should start associating with those who regularly run, who regularly engage in jogging. Then what will happen? His lungs that are damaged because of jogging and because of running and all that, his lungs will get repaired. So if the way to quit smoking is to quit the association of smokers, then what is the way to start jogging? I'll repeat the sentence again. If the way to quit smoking is to quit the association of smokers, then what is the right way to start the habit of jogging every day? Yes, to enter into the association of those who jog every day, who run every day. See, remember this principle. Anything you want to learn, don't try to learn it directly. First, develop friendship with those who are doing it regularly. Then that becomes very easy. You want to learn how to play a violin? Don't purchase a violin. Because even if you purchase the best violin, you don't know how to play. First, make friendship with people who play a violin every day. They will teach you everything about a violin. Then you purchase your own violin and they will teach you how to play it. So, what we do, we have some target, but we directly go for that target. But the natural way of doing it is you associate with people who are doing it and then it becomes very easy for you. So, similarly, we have fallen into wrong association that love is about receiving, and now we want to come out of that bad habit. So, how will we come out of that bad habit? How to get into a good habit? To develop our friendship with those who have that good habit. So if we change our friendship, if we change our association, if we keep coming regularly to such programs, and then we hear that actually, yes, I want to develop good habits, and good habits will be formed when I associate with good people. People who are not interested in receiving, but people who are interested in giving. So Rakhil Bandhu Prabhu is one such person. Every month he comes regularly to Baramati. And does he ask anything from you? Has he asked any money from you? Has he asked anything from you? I want a laptop, I want a phone. Akhil Bandhu Prabhu, when he comes to Baramati, he just wants to give. He's sharing his knowledge with you, he's sharing his wisdom with you. If you ask him some questions, he gives you answers. He arranges different programs for you. So many months now, Akhil Bandhu Prabhu comes to Baramati. He has not asked anybody for anything. All he is saying is, please take the holy names from me. Please take the knowledge of Gita from me. So the more we associate with people who don't want anything from us, but they just want to give to us, that is our hope. Yes. So I'll end here. I'll stop here. Does anybody have any questions?
Anybody? If you have any question, you can ask. So let us express our gratitude and have a round of applause for Prabhuji. And